All right, let's take a look at this old photo that was shared today in the Indianola, Nebraska History Facebook group by new member Alan Lambert. Thank you for the share. This photo made my day. Look at this place. So the back of this photo reads C.D. Cramer's place on a hill north of Indianola, circa 1900. So right at the turn of the century, 1900. This is several miles north of town. This is about, as you'll see later here, people are saying this is probably located about a mile north of the Indianola prisoner of war camp during World War II that was located nearby here. That's interesting, something to think about. But, I mean, look at this place. This is out in the middle of a country. I mean, a town of 600, 800 people now, maybe was in the low thousands at its peak, never more really than that. So a town this small, you're saying that they built this house. When was this house built? That is a great question, because as you can see here, those familiar in the mud flood, Tartarian Empire research, people into the old world, the resets, the buildings from the previous civilizations, you begin to realize and notice all across the United States and countries all across the world, buried buildings from around this time, right at the late 1800s, during the start of the Industrial Revolution and all the settlement of the Midwest and the West. We moved into all these areas and built amazing buildings, but there's a problem with these buildings, something that just really does not add up. And that mainly being buried subfloors. And look at this. This is a great example. All kinds of great examples in towns nearby, like McCook, for example. I've been looking a lot into that lately. You can look up my videos on Kearney. But this is a worldwide phenomenon around this time. There was some event that we apparently do not remember, has been erased from our history, that buried these buildings, and in often cases, multiple stories, in several stories of mud, debris, silt. There was some sort of event that buried these buildings, because look at this. These are clearly windows, but why are half of an entire floor is buried? And again, this is in the middle of a rural area, in the middle of a country. Why would you build a mansion and a mansion like this I'm going to do a deep dive on this, but apparently the early 1880s, because as you can see here, I had a great time reading all of the comments on this to find out more information. There's some great knowledge in this group. Again, if you are from Southwest Nebraska, from the area, amazing stuff. C.D. Cramer in 1883 was the commander of the G.A.R. post. So the Grand Army of the Republic is kind of a fraternity for Civil War veterans. He was the commander of the G.A.R. post at Indianola. He was also the Republican nominee for county clerk, which he conveniently won. Sounds like this guy was pretty elite. I mean, obviously you would have to be able to afford to build something like this in the late or early 1880s. I mean, the majority of the people were supposedly settling here in covered wagons with not much of anything really to speak of, but to be able to build something like this. So Bill offers some great commentary here that what he found out, he's great, and Bill has great knowledge of the area. So they described it as a mansion with a beautiful staircase. It was located north of Indianola, about a mile or so north of the prisoner of war camp that was located nearby, 1 mile south in World War II. So he's seen the place. There's an old line of trees that are still there that are visible. Amazing stuff. we're gonna have to. I'm going to do a lot more research on this place, obviously, because this is just blowing my mind, really. I've been looking for more examples of old world architecture in the rural areas. We live in a rural area, and there's a lot of great examples in town of buried subfloors and buildings, but to see them out in a mansion like this, located in the middle of nowhere, so to speak, that's very telling in my opinion. So it's out by an antenna, or a radio tower is located near there apparently now, on the blacktop north of town. Again, someone's pointing out that C.D. Cramer was the county clerk in 1884. Someone had mentioned that before. Someone says they see a face in the windows. To see if that is true. But again, see these buried subfloors. This looks like this may be an entrance, the original entrance located underneath these staircases. Another indicator of these old world buildings are these raised staircases. You will see all the time these raised staircases, because often what was converted later on, as you can see, this is looks like it was probably converted at some point into an entrance, but it was originally a window. Could have been. Looks like it. You see these buried subfloors, raised staircase, very common. But just look at this. 1, 2, at least 3 stories that we can see. There may be additional buried floors. Very well could be. Look at these bricked archways. This probably was a window right here at one point. As well as just more. This looks buried. Why is only half a level or a story showing of this amazing mansion for its time? For today, could we build this today? Is there anything like this in the area today? I mean, besides the Catholic Church, which still stands, that's another whole topic, probably deserves its own video. Let's look more at the comments here. So someone said they see a face. Here's some aerial view of the suspected area. This is the line of trees, I believe, that they mentioned was the old driveway to the house. Someone mentioned plat maps. I'm definitely going to look up some homestead records to try to get estimated date of construction of this place. They're talking about that the trees were very interesting, or it was a specific type of tree that made up the driveway there. Someone was mentioning that, and they said that it was probably Osage orange, very hard wood, very long lasting fence posts. So here's again the area where maybe the house once existed, it looks like someone's pointing out. Maybe the old foundation. I'd love to see pictures of the inside. If anyone has more info, can share with me some pictures of this house, I'd love to see it. I'm suspecting could be multiple fireplaces. Looks like they're as big of a house that probably surely were at that period in time. More people pointing out the location. But what an amazing place. I want to know much more. I'll be trying to share more, as I'm definitely going to be looking into this. But just wanted to make a quick little video, hop on, and I'm hoping to do more of this. This is just one of my first attempts at this. Some live commentary, initial knee-jerk reaction. So bear with me. Hope you enjoyed this a little bit, got something out of it. or at least interested you enough to look more into this if you are from the area, or just enjoy information history posts like this. So take care until next time.